My broadcast partner, Andy Freed.
Thank you very much, Neil, and good afternoon to you once again from Wrigley as the crowd gathers and filled in. Looks to be close to a packed house on this Friday with the Rays in town for 3. Chandler Simpson starts it against the left-hander Matthew Boyd. From the third base side of the rubber, the veteran pitches, and it's down and in. Ball 1 to Simpson. Underway at 1:20 Central Time. A missed game time temp.
I don't think he gave it.
How dare they? Blame Jesse Feldman for that. Our former intern runs the National League now. There's Simpson taking low and outside. 2 balls, no strikes.
They just gave it 80 degrees.
All right. A little warmer than it was on the south side. And there's a strike called on the outside from home plate umpire, the crew chief, Marvin Hudson. 2-1 to count to Simpson, coming off a 4-for-4 day against the White Sox. And stole his 40th base of the season. Chandler swings and misses, and it's 2-2. Boyd, while still getting his share of strikeouts, was much more of a strikeout pitcher when he came up with Toronto and then Detroit. But some of that, he almost had 240 strikeouts in a season, but not that kind of guy so much. Simpson takes outside 3-2. One thing you have to say about Boyd, he has such a good pickoff move that he's very, very difficult to run against. But you'd still like to see Chandler get aboard and see what he can try. Boyd steps back and delivers to the plate on 3-2. Fouled onto the screen. And it remains a full count.
We were touching at the top just about how teams might defend Chandler Simpson. Ian Happ is a lot deeper in left than I would think most teams have had for Chandler this year, the way he slaps the ball into shallow left field.
Yeah, he is several steps back, but as always, the outfielder shaded to the opposite side against the left-hand batting Simpson. Boyd winds the 3-2 pitch, line foul down the left field line and out of play. And we'll do it again at 3-2. Fine at bat as the Rays try to figure out Matthew Boyd first time through. Maybe get this offense rolling a little bit after they really scuffled yesterday against the White Sox. Another 3-2 pitch. Swing, line drive left field, base hit. Chandler Simpson with a fine at bat to start the afternoon. Singles in the 8th pitch of the game.
First breaking ball of the sequence gets the Rays their first hit. Every hit's a win with Suncoast. For every Rays hit, Suncoast donates $79 in honor of their 79 Florida branches, with up to $10,000 going toward 2 local nonprofits each month.
Matthew Boyd is the major league leader in pickoffs. He has 10 pickoffs. So Chandler's got to be mindful of that as he's held by Michael Busch at first. Here's Yandy Diaz after an off day yesterday. Boyd slide steps to the plate, and he's outside ball 1. So you got a guy that really can stop the running game against a guy that might be the fastest player in the game today, aboard in Chandler Simpson. The stretch from Boyd, Diaz awaits. And there's the sidearm pickoff. At least attempt. Simpson easily getting back to the base.
The other piece of the equation is the catcher Carson Kelly, and he's just shy of throwing out 40% of the runners trying to steal this year, so he's pretty darn good to finish it off.
Very, very difficult to run against him, and that stuff matters. I mean, it's not, it's not an by the way thing. If you can slow the running game, especially when you get to October, boy, what a difference. The stretch here is Boyd coming home, and it's a wild one to the backstop, and then ricochets out towards third base. Simpson flies to second. And that's another thing when you come to Wrigley Field. I remember the first time I came here with the Rays, whatever year that was, I was surprised to see, because you don't pick it up when you watch the games on TV, how off-center the hook behind the plate is. The curl to the backstop area is up the third base line. So anything that goes back of the plate ricochets sharply to the opposite side of the field. And a ton of room straight back, so easily Simpson, he could have crawled to second. And Yandy takes high and in. It's now 3 balls, no strikes.
To add to your point, it's almost like trying to follow a ball that hits off a bumper in pinball. That's what the back of home plate is like here.
Yeah, you don't notice that when you watch the games on TV here, because from the center field camera, it looks like it's straight back there, but it's very much angled and off center. The 3-0 to Yandy Diaz is outside. It's a 4-pitch walk. So the Rays have runners at first and second with nobody out and a scoring opportunity very early. And let's see what kind of reception Christopher Morel gets here. Not as intense as I thought. They do show some people wearing the Morel number 5 jersey. He wears number 24 for the Rays. A little more tepid than I expected, to be honest. There's a guy that did some big-time power things for the Cubs, so he stands in against Boyd. And first pitch to him, tried to time it, swung on and missed, it's 0-1. But for those that know Christopher's demeanor, he is a very affable young man, and he's a guy that could get very, very hot in a short amount of time, and he did that with the Cubs. There's a high fly ball into left center field, going back as Happ, back to the ivy, and gone! Morel returns to Wrigley with a 3-run homer in the first, and the Rays jump out on top of the Cubs.
Well, isn't that a fine how do you do?
So he homered in his first 2 games as a Ray after the trade. And he homers in his first game back at Wrigley as a member of the Rays.
And his first game with the Cubs, he had a pinch hit home run as well. Boy, he loves his first, doesn't he? Those are the first runs, and a reminder with that, Mosaic donates $500 to Fighting Hunger in Tampa Bay.
What a perfect start for the Rays, as it's gone single, wild pitch, walk, homer, and the Rays up 3 early. And now Junior Caminero swings and misses. It's 0-1.
17th homer allowed by Boyd. 15 right-handed batters.
Tell you what, I mean, that's the thing. For Morel, he does live up to big moments, does he not? And that was a no-doubter. Caminero backed off the plate inside, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
And a big ballpark with the wind blowing in.
Now the turn of the rubber, the left-hander throws. Caminero grounds one through the middle, hits the bag at second, but Nico Horner recovers from behind second and throws to first for the out.
With that, let's set the defense for the Cubs today. You mentioned Horner at second, Dansby Swanson at short, Matt Shaw at third, and Michael Busch over at first. Left to right in the outfield, Ian Happ, Pete Crow Armstrong, and Willie Castro, and Carson Kelly behind the plate.
You know, it's a long and, of course, storied history for the Chicago Cubs, but Christopher Morel is part of it in a number of ways. Not just now homering in his first time back, as Jake Mangum batting right, he takes all the way. It's a called strike. There have only been 5 Cubs in their franchise's history to homer in 5 consecutive games, and Morel did that with the Cubs. There's a swing and a ground ball base hit, left center field for Mangum. And he gets things restarted for the Rays.
Nice job sitting on a slow curveball from Boyd. That's normally one of his best pitches.
What's interesting, too, about that, with the Morel homering in 5 straight games as a Cub, they're all in recent years except for one. Michael Busch did it last year. Sammy Sosa in 98. Ryan Sandberg in 89. Morel did it 2 years ago. And Hack Wilson in 1928. But Morel, that's an exclusive list. And now a swing and a miss by Everson Pereira at 0-1. So he did some big things here in Chicago, and he does it again. And maybe that's just because he only got the tepid applause. He got him booing quickly. Pereira stands in with Mangum at first. Boyd to the high set and throws. Taken, strike 2 called. 0-2. Pereira pretty much starts only against left-handed pitching. And same for Morel, for that matter, too. This is the Rays' right-hand hitting lineup. Boyd with a look towards first. Mangum leads and goes back to the base. Here's the throw over, and not in time. Boy, that is some move. It's a step-off and submarine throw by Boyd. Different than many other left-handers. Different than what Max Fried does, but works just as well.
If you have a left-handed catching first baseman there, that's an out.
Probably. Now the step to the plate. Pereira pops one up down the right field line. Towards the sidewall goes Willie Castro, and he makes the catch just in fair territory. Back to first Mangum, 2 out. Well, the foul territory at Wrigley Field pretty much disappears when you get a little more than halfway down the line past the corner bags towards the left field side and the right field side. It basically the brick wall on the side abuts the foul line. Famously, in the postseason down the left field line in 2003. But it's that way on the right field side, too. Here's left-hand batting Richie Palacios, takes a strike, it's 0-1.
And the way the winds blows in this ballpark, he can never give up on a baseball.
No, it's blowing in from right today. The ball's at a strike to Palacios. Mangan with a short lead, and the pitch fouled straight back and out of play. And it's 0-2. Well, the Rays, because of Boyd on the mound, and also time to give some other guys a rest all five of their bench guys are all left-handed hitters. Josh Lowe's in there every day. Of course, Brandon Lau, too, so they get the early afternoon off. Everybody on the bench, left-hand hitters. File that away for later. Palacios takes low outside, and 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And the Cubs are starting 2 left-handed pitchers, with Shota Imanaga getting the final game of this series.
So we might see the same, if not a very similar-looking lineup on Sunday. A righty, though, tomorrow. Palacios awaits on the 1-2, down and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Cubs are coming in feeling pretty good. They won a rubber match game in Atlanta 2 days ago, then had yesterday off. But the bullpen was the star of the show in Atlanta. They used 5 pitchers to shut out the Braves over the last 4 2/3 innings and won the game by a run. The stretch, Palacios awaits on a 2-2. Line back up the middle. The shortstop, though, to his left in shallow center is Dansby Swanson to throw to first and retire Palacios. Good play by both middle infielders in the inning. But the Rays get 3, and a welcome back to Christopher Morel to Wrigley Field at the end of half. The Rays 3, Cubs coming up against
on the hill for the Rays and giving it a 3-0 lead before he takes to the mound. His stuff has been spectacular. In fact, as good as it's been all year. 2 runs, 5 innings this last time out in a 3-2 loss to Cleveland. Well, now he has more runs in that start, or today, than he had in that entire start.
Kevin Cash said prior to the game that Baz's stuff is peaking. In other words, it's as good now as it's been at any other point of the year, and in some cases even better. Michael Busch, left-hand batter, leads off and takes inside ball 1. I think, as we often note at the velocity of his fastball, which often is high 90s, the velocity of his knuckle curveball, it's a very, very hard knuckle curve. He throws 1-0, taken, inside corner strike, and it's even up 1-1. Busch and then Happ, Carson Kelly for the homestanding Chicago Cubs. Baz works on the first base side of the rubber. Caminero backs off from third, goes out near short. And Baz works, shows bunt, and takes inside and low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Speaking of the uniforms, I mean, it's a baby blue uniform, which really harkens back to the 70s and 80s. But it's got the red numbers and letters on the back, and it really does look like the Expos' old jerseys on the road. But the Cubs, for a time, did wear, in the late 70s, I remember them wearing light blue on the road shirts and pants, and they had pinstripes on them. Swinging a ground ball right to second base. Easy pickup by Palacios. His first attempt this year at second. He throws the first for the out.
And let's hit the defense for the Rays with Palacios at second, Yandy Diaz at first on the right side of the infield, Carson Williams at short, and third baseman Junior Caminero with Nick Fortes behind the plate, Chandler Simpson, Everson Pereira, and Jake Mangum left to right in the outfield.
Batter now will be Ian Happ. And I remember looking at those uniforms because not only were they like very soft-looking baby blues, and they had like the baby bear, the Cub baby bear look on their sleeves. If they didn't look like kids' pajamas. I remember thinking at the time, well, they look kind of comfy and cozy. Here's strike one called to Happ. And 0-1.
Did they have the feetsies on them?
I mean, they might as well have. The stretch Baz in the pitch. Wouldn't that have been a look? This one comes in high. 1 ball, 1 strike. But don't kids' pajamas look so cozy? And that's just for Bruce Suter's out there throwing ridiculous split fingers and looked like he was just about ready for bedtime. At least when they were on the road at a night game. Happ awaiting on a 1-1 pitch. Swinging a foul straight back, and it is 1-2.
He put other lineups to sleep, that's for sure.
Well, he was pretty darn good. That's when he broke in. He found the splitter with the Chicago Cubs, and he was the top closer in the game. Then to St. Louis, and then eventually to Atlanta. 1 ball, 2 strikes. With the infield playing Happ to pull, he takes a called strike 3. I suppose that's redundant. Takes a called strike 3, but he took it, and it was strike 3, and 2 out, nobody on.
And it was 98, but it got a lot of the play, too, and we've seen at times where Shane Baz has left some pitches in the strike zone with 2 strikes, and I'm a little surprised that Happ didn't pull the trigger there.
I asked Kevin Cash today about the last start for him when he would so quickly get to 2 strikes and was having a hard time putting hitters away. Guardians were getting hits against him with 2 strikes. I said, so what's the difference between what we always hear, that race to 2 strikes, but then not making the right pitches when he gets to 2 strikes? And here's a swing and a miss by Carson Kelly. He goes, maybe just a little bit more focused once you get to the 2-strike situation. That's what you want to get to. And with the kind of stuff he has, he should be, once you get to 2 strikes, he should be a real problem for the hitters. He is so far today, and he's got a 3-0 Rays lead in the first. Kelly swings, lines one to the gap in left center field. It gets down for the base hit. Cut off deep in the alley by Simpson, and holding at first is Kelly. Nice job by Chandler Simpson, and a perfect one-hop throw to ensure that Carson gets no more than a single.
Well, that's one area that I think Chandler has made the greatest strides as an outfielder. His arm has gotten much better. He not only has 5 outfield assists, but he also has done a better job of getting more on the baseball, but also getting rid of it much more quickly.
That's the way the Rays teach it, too. Get rid of it as fast as you can. Even if it's not a pretty throw, just get it into the next base as fast as you can. Here's Pete Crow Armstrong, the budding superstar here in Chicago. Left-hand batter, and takes a fastball at 97 that missed. Up and away, 1 ball, no strikes. Like many of the Cubs, an incredibly solid first half, and much quieter since the All-Star break. There's a strike call. I remember you and I were looking at some of the Cubs' offensive exploits prior to the All-Star break, and we're like, wow, what a juggernaut they are. But it's gone away. They have not been scoring runs since the break. In fact, since the All-Star break, only the Astros have fewer runs per game than these Cubs. This ball bounces in at a beautiful stop behind the plate by Nick Fortes. The count is 2-1.
And before the break, only the Dodgers had scored more. So they've gone from one extreme to the other. The question is, when they get to the postseason, which version of the lineup will show up?
Their starting rotation has been pretty good, and lately their bullpen's been solid, even though their closer, Palencia, has gone on the injured list. Armstrong takes very high. Now it's 3 balls, 1 strike. So 3-1. The count to Armstrong. 28 home runs and 87 batted in, and he's very fast also. Also a very, very good outfielder. So talented. Baz sets and pitches 3-1. Strike 2 is called with the knuckle curve. And, boy, if you can throw that pitch on 3-1 for a strike, boy, you really get into the hitter's head. Now it's 3-2.
Almost had Crow Armstrong bailing out. He was so fooled.
So it's full, and Kelly will be running at first. Baz coming home. Swing and a miss. He struck him out to retire the side. Boy, and Crow Armstrong angrily flings the bat away. A changeup takes care of him, and we're done with 1 in Chicago. Rays 3, Cubs nothing on the Rays.
.com/Brighton Lives.
Kind of like this start by the Rays. They're up 3-0 as we head to the second inning. And here is Nick Fortes, right-hand batting catcher. And he takes outside and high against Boyd. 1-0. Then Williamson in the top of the order again. Rays hit 7 men and scored 3 runs in the first against the all-star lefty Matthew Boyd. Swinging a pop-up out of play to the right side by Fortes. And it is 1 ball, 1 strike. Something to keep an eye out, Neil. I know we've done games here together before, but the fastest fingers in Major League Baseball is the guy that runs the hand-operated scoreboard here behind center field. The pitch is popped up foul down the left field line. To me, it almost seems like he calls the pitch and then the umpire follows. It's almost like he's inside the umpire's head. Watch how fast he is. As the pitch comes in, he changes the count almost as it's coming in. Swinging a foul, so it'll stay the same. Well, in this one, at 1-2. But I remember going down and meeting him one time and saying how impressed we were at how fast he is. And he's like never wrong. He's so locked in. Such a classic-looking scoreboard above center field.
What's his name?
I could not tell you. I'm not that fast. Boyd from the line and pitches to Fortes. Swing, ground ball, foul along third. And we'll do it again at 1-2. But it's such that classic-looking scoreboard. If you've ever seen a game at Wrigley Field, it's like a centerpiece of the ballpark, right behind the 400-foot sign at center, with the National League on the left side, American League on the right side, and that old-looking style to it. Fortes takes outside. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
The beauty for me is the clock. That's got you don't even have numbers on it.
Here's Boyd throwing, and a swing and a tapper at the first base line, foul. Yeah, it's an analog clock. Do kids even know how to read an analog clock anymore?
I'm not sure. I'd have to ask my kids if they do.
Above the clock, you've got 3 columns of flags, topped off by the American flag at the top. The pennants for the other teams make up the 3 columns, and it's blowing in from right and across towards left. Fortes swings and drives one right center field, but Armstrong was playing back, Crow Armstrong that is, and he makes the catch to his left for the first out of the inning.
Good long at bat, though, by Nick Fortes to start the inning, and he made solid contact.
It really is it's like the Fenway Park of the National League, or Fenway is the Wrigley Field of the American. Certainly old. The one thing that always comes to mind whenever I come here, I always look at the home plate area and think, that's where Babe Ruth in 1932 hit the called shot, the so-called called shot. Here's a swing and a line drive by Carson Williams, and that'll hang in the air for the charging right fielder Castro, and running it down, 2 men away. I mean, you can't top a place where history happened, and there's been so much in this place going back to just after the turn of the century.
So much amazing history over the years.
The homer and the gloaming, all the recent, moments by the Cubs also, within the last decade or so. Finally winning the World Series. Here's Chandler Simpson, and he takes outside ball 1.
Well, yesterday was September 11th, wasn't it, right after baseball resumed, that Sammy Sosa was sprinting out to the outfield with the American flag in hand in the first game back?
Yes, he was. Well, on 1-0, swing popped up, foul off the third base side, out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. I think of the 45 series with the Tigers and the Cubs right after the end of World War II. I say I remember it as if I was here. I was not here, but certainly read a lot about it. And you just can't top the history in these old ballparks. They still are gorgeous. And they look great on TV still. Even better in person. This one's lifted in the air down the left field line, but Ian Happ has that measured, and each outfielder gets a putout in the inning. Rays are down in order through 1.5. It's Rays 3, Cubs nothing on the Rays Radio Network.
Craving the best pizza in Tampa Bay? Colony Grill, the official pizza of the Rays, has been serving its famous thin crust pizza since 1935. Whether you're celebrating a win or enjoying a meal with family and friends, Colony Grill's famous thin crust pizza knocks it out of the park.
3-0 Rays to the bottom of the second inning, and Nico Horner starts it against Shane Baz at first pitch, high and in, ball 1. Quentin Berry is the third base coach who was known as a very good base stealer during his time. That was kind of his specialty. He played for a number of teams. Swing and a line drive to left. It's a base hit. Picked up on a hop by Simpson. Solid single to left by Nico Horner opens the Cubs' second inning. Jose Javier is the first base coach for manager Craig Counsell and the Cubs.
Curious to see if the Cubs do try and run against Shane Baz, because teams have done that. In Chicago, he's third in baseball in stolen bases. Of course, the Rays are number 1 in that category.
It's a pretty multi-pronged offense for the Cubs. They can score runs a lot of ways, but they have not been, say, over the last 2 months. Moises Ballesteros. Guy built like a fire hydrant in the left-hand batter's box, swings and fouls it back. It's 0-1.
Like Matt Stairs.
Little Stairs, little Kirby Puckett in him. But a left-handed bat. I think Stairs is probably the better comparison. Straight up stance, bat rests on his left shoulder. Now he holds it high up. As Baz comes to him on 0-1. Taken outside and low. 1 ball and 1 strike. One of the guys that's here with the injury to Kyle Tucker from playing high school, and they're hoping to get him back. I mean, the Cubs are in such a good spot with kind of knowing where they're going to be after the regular season. Here's a swing and a grounder to first and fouled down the right field line. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That they can probably afford to wait a little bit on some of these, injuries to different players and make sure their roster is as healthy as it can be once postseason starts. You can envision them making a pretty good October run. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Here's Baz pitching, bounced it in. I mean, get third best record in the National League, 5th best overall in the game. And very hard to imagine them. It would take quite the collapse for them to not make postseason. And it would probably take the collapse by the Brewers and a hot run by the Cubs for them to catch them in the National League Central. So then it comes down to, is it really that important to win a division? Throw to first, and jumping back to the base goes Horner. Yandy had to bounce that one, or pick up off the short hop. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Pretty good job to keep it in front of him and prevent an error.
Brewers lead the Cubs by 5.5 games. I'll tell you, I mean, the Brewers are having such an incredibly good year. That's the only reason why the Cubs aren't really that close to leading division. They've had the sort of record that would win you this division a lot of years. Swinging a slow bouncer to the first base side of the mound. Baz has it, underhands to Yandy Diaz. And up to second base goes Horner. The play goes 1-3.
Good curveball below the zone to get the soft, weak contact by Shane Baz there. I could see the Cubs going deep in the postseason. I could also see it being a very short postseason because they're probably going to get the team that doesn't win the West, either the Dodgers or Padres, in a best-of-3. And as you know, when you get to a best-of-3 series, all those teams are good. Anything can happen.
They sure can. All right, here with a runner at second and 1 out. Rays lead 3-0 is the always dangerous Dansby Swanson. And first pitch to him, the right-hand batting shortstop, is a called strike 0-1. Dodgers lead San Diego by 2.5 in the West. Every time San Diego just about catches them, they repel backwards a little bit. So they still have a chance to win the division, but they have not been able to get past L.A. Here's Baz throwing. Low and inside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Phillies on an incredibly hot stretch. Just swept 4 from the Mets to all but finish off the NL East. They lead by 11 games over the second-place Mets. 1 ball, 1 strike to count to Dansby Swanson. Horner, fast runner at second of the pitch, called strike 2 with the beautiful knuckle curveball. And it is 1-2.
Might have been a bit of a break for Shane. That looked to be, at least by the box, a ball or 2 inside.
He'll take it. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Infield plays Swanson to pull to the left side. Outfield straight away. Here's Baz throwing. Look out, up and inside. Rays asking for a check swing and denied at first by Ryan Blakeney. It was one of those ones where Swanson was trying to get out of the way and the bat nearly inadvertently went through the zone. Thing was up near the ear flap. The pitch, that is. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Dansby Swanson. Horner, couple step lead off second. Palacios, the second baseman, playing kind of bird dogging him a bit at second base. And the pitch grounded back towards the middle. Williams dives to his left, knocks it into center for a hit, and a run comes in for the Cubs. Trying to score, or scoring is Horner, trying to get to second is Swanson, and he does. It's a hustle double and 3-1 Rays.
And so far, the Cubs right-handers are all getting to Shane Baz. He's retired every single lefty, and every righty has gotten a hit so far.
Carson Williams diving headlong to his left, knocked it into center field, and it took all the spice out of the baseball, so it started to really die, and as deep as Pereira was, he had a long run to try to get it, so it turns into a hustle double, and now a bunt attempt by Castro. He pulls back, and the pitch is high, 1-0. So 3-1, Rays with a lead with a tying run now at the plate in Willie Castro. Castro, the longtime Minnesota Twin, utility-type player, playing right field today. Baz looks at Swanson at second and throws. He's outside. And out 2 balls, no strikes. There was another 2-strike hit by an opposing player. 2-0 to Castro. Baz sets and delivers. Outside, 3-0.
Castro's been hitting 177 since the trade from the Cubs to the Twins. This is a guy you got to attack.
Well, you really got to go after the bottom of any order, but you want to stay away from the top guys as often as possible. There's a lot of outs down there, and there's ball 4 high. None of those pitches particularly close. It's a walk to Castro, puts the tying runs on base, and the go-ahead run to the plate, and Kyle Snyder makes his first visit to the mound.
That's been the biggest challenge, I think, for Shane, is maintaining that consistent focus and concentration 3 times through a lineup, and I think that's probably the greatest challenge for a young pitcher going through his first full season in the majors, to be able to buckle down, especially against a team as good as the Cubs.
All right, the batter will be Matt Shaw. He's the go-ahead run. Rays jumped out to the 3-0 lead, but now 2 on, 1 out, 1 in the last half of the second inning. And Baz with a pat on the backside to Shane Baz. Kyle heads back to the dugout. And the hitter is Matt Shaw. 9th place hitter in the order. With 2 men on base. Rays playing to pull on the infield. Rays move a couple of steps to the opposite side of the outfield. Shaw, 11 home runs in the first pitch. Taken, called strike at the top part of the zone with the cutter. And it's 0-1. Shaw overall, 226, 39 batted in with the 11 home runs. Baz, extreme first base side of the rubber, looks back to Swanson, stares at him. Now comes home, taken, too high. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 here to the Cubs' third baseman. Both these teams have been excellent in interleague this year. And while the team's overall record quite different, but against the other league, they've been really good. There's a swing and a miss, and Shaw's helmet pops off. In fact, the Cubs in interleague, about as good as you're going to get in the game this year. I had it, now I lost it, but they're very, very good in interleague. But as are the Rays. The Rays are 27-18 in interleague play. And the pitch swung on and missed, strike 3. Shaw is retired. The fastball takes care of him at the very top of the zone, and that one at 98.
Right above the zone, and more so, I think, on the hands, in where Shaw couldn't get the hands extended. And you mentioned the Rays record in interleague. The Cubs are 1 game better. They are 28-17 on the year.
All right, now the top of the order, Michael Busch, who grounded to second and lines a base hit towards right center field past the diving Palacios. Swanson scores. On his way to third goes Castro. It's a 1-run game, 3-2 Rays.
Just a first pitch breaking ball that just got a lot of the plate, and Busch was sitting on it.
So now the 3-0 Rays lead is down to 1. You got the tying run at third and 2 out. But the go-ahead run at first in Michael Busch, and up comes Ian Happ. And Happ struck out looking his first time. The 2-out runs really hurt the Rays yesterday against the White Sox. Here's a swing and a foul back by left-handed hitting Happ on a fastball. It's 0-1. Rays have split the 14 games all-time here at Wrigley Field. Some memorable games, none more so than when Sammy Sosa got caught using a corked bat right here at Wrigley back in 2003. Happ looks at a ball outside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Rays took 2 or 3 from the Cubs last year at Tropicana Field. All the games decided in the late innings. So hang on to this one today. You got a way to go. 1-1 to Happ. And the pitch line towards right center field. That'll get down for the base hit and tie the game up. Scoring is Castro. Bush all the way to third. And the 3-0 Rays lead is gone. It's 3-3.
Well, unfortunately for Shane Baz, this is the growth of a young pitcher, and he's had a tough time sometimes getting the third strike and sometimes getting that third out. And Cubs had trouble scoring runs recently, but not today so far.
Nope. Boy, they quickly erased that 3-0 deficit, huh? And now they've got the go-ahead run to third in Bush. Happ is at first, and up comes Carson Kelly, who singled his first time up. 3-3 tie. We start over, and Baz off the rubber. And the only almost of the inning was Williams' dive to take a... Well, it was going to be a hit probably anyway. But everything else, clean hits against Shane Baz, and Kelly, a right-hand batter, takes high, ball one.
He just hasn't put the ball in the proper spot in the strike zone.
Boy, if you're Matthew Boyd, you give up a 3-run homer to the third batter of the game, and within an inning, your team has bailed you out. Here's a swing and a miss at the cutter, and it's 1-1 strike. So credit to the Cubs. They come back, and they come back quickly against Shane Baz. Now can Shane get out of here and start this game all over again? Bush leads from third to the pitch. Outside, it's 2-1. Well, Matthew Boyd threw a lot of pitches in the first and flew through the second. Baz, solid in the first and laboring here in the second. The stretch by Baz, he stares at third, now pitches inside. It's 3-1.
That was his 28th pitch of the inning.
That's a lot. 3 balls and a strike. Kelly is the 8th man to bat in the inning. He pitches, swinging a foul, straight back. It's 3-2.
And it's not like the Rays have a ton of relievers they can go if their starter can't get through the second inning. I mean,
they used him yesterday.
Yeah.
Full count 3-2. Now we'll see Happ running from first, with Bush leading down the line at third and 2 outs. A 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 called, inning over. So it took nearly 30 pitches, and Shane Baz gives back all 3 runs, but he does lead, and we push the reset button. At the end of 2 full at Wrigley Field, Rays and Cubs tied at 3. Solon's here for the third inning with the Rays and the Cubs tied at 3.
Thanks very much, Andy. Rays got Left-hander's first pitch, slow curve for a called strike, 0-1. When I say slow, I mean slow. 71 miles an hour, one of the slower curveballs in the game. 0-1 to Yandy, who walked his first time. Taken way high fastball, it's 1-1. A curveball that's 71 and a fastball that's 92, 93. More than a 20-mile-an-hour differential. One of the bigger differentials in the game, too. 1-1. Taken, down and in. Off speed. Change up there, and it's 2-1. Boyd using the kitchen sink against Yandy, who's the only guy who had faced Boyd entering today. Swinging a ground ball, broken bat foul off the end. It's 2-2, and let's pause for station identification on the Rays Baseball Network. Alongside Andy Freed from Wrigley Field, I'm Neil Solondz. Ricardo Betancourt is our engineer here in the booth. Chris Adams-Wall, Peter Defeat, our Rays Watch Party, and Chris Mathis back at our network studios. Certainly hoping you're enjoying your Friday here in mid-September. Rays 3, Cubs 3. Yandy Diaz with a new bat and a 2-2 count. Veteran Matthew Boyd at the ready. The left-hander winds and fires. Swinging a foul, straight back on a fastball. Still 2-2. Yandy has a new career high in homers. He hit his 23rd on the other side of Chicago. His 78 RBIs have tied his career high. The pitch. Outside with a change, it's full 3-2. So, at 33 years of age, Yandy could set career highs in the homer and RBI departments. He is like a fine wine, getting better with age, just like the pitcher Matthew Boyd. Payoff coming. Swinging a foul to the right, late to the fastball. Still 3-2 from Boyd to Diaz here in the third. 3-3 Rays and Cubs. Yandy, the biggest difference between he and Matthew Boyd, Yandy has been with only 2 clubs. Boyd has really bounced around with all the injuries he's had. Best moments prior to this year with Detroit. Payoff is hit in the air and backspun toward left, but over and in. Now is Happ. He's under it to make the catch. And Yandy got that a little bit off the end, and there's one gone here in the Rays' third inning.
Well, here's a club you might want to get into. We think so. It's called Club Citgo. Download the Club Citgo app now and instantly save 23 cents per gallon on your first fill-up.
Credit to Boyd. He threw a changeup at 3-2 that just got below the zone, and Yandy Diaz tried to scoop it out of there and just couldn't quite make enough solid contact. Here's a guy who did make good contact, Christopher Morel. And he swings and lines it over third, and it is a foul ball. Just foul. Morel's 3-run homer, the Rays 3 runs in the first inning in his return to Chicago, and there he got one off the end, but almost got it down the left field line for another extra base hit. Matt Shaw made the leap. He couldn't quite get high enough. This is a Cubs team that's as good defensively as any in baseball. Only the Rangers, at least by the numbers, are better. 1 strike on Morel, now with 11 homers. Boyd kicks and pitches. Swinging a foul to the right on a fastball. That's what he hit out his first time up. This time he puts it in the second deck and right, and it's 0-2. Christopher DHing today spoke very fondly of his time with the Cubs organization. 0-2. Outside 1-2. Of course, he broke in 2016 with the organization as a 16-year-old. That's when he signed. And eventually got to the major leagues with him for the first time as well. 1-2. Swinging a ground ball, chop foul. Right in front of the Cubs dugout, third base side. It's still 1-2. Still holds very strong friendships with a lot of players with the Chicago Cubs. And was very involved in the community when he was here. Sits deep in the box, Boyd at the high set. Winds and pitches. Outside, it's 2-2. Boyd so far has allowed 3 runs on 3 hits and a walk. He's had to work hard for his outs. 2-2 to Morel. Low, and it's full. Rays are doing a good job laying off that changeup. Junior Caminero waiting on deck. In fact, the Cubs have with positioning and also with defensive plays, have taken away a couple more potential hits. 1 out, base is empty. 3-2. Check swing, it's called strike 3. Threw a slider on the hands, the first one of the sequence, and Morel was caught off guard, and he's the second out of the inning. Had a pretty good at-bat, but it ends for naught. So that's 15 pitches to get 2 outs, but Boyd putting up a shutdown frame unless Junior Caminero can change that. Junior's first trip to Wrigley takes on the outside edge, changeup for a strike. 42 homers, 106 RBIs, just turned 22 this year. The pitch. Swing and a foul to the right, and it's 0-2. I can't imagine there's anybody who said before the year he was going to put up these kind of numbers. I think even Junior has done a little bit better than his initial goals or objectives for the season. But here he is with a couple weeks to go. He's chasing a lot of records. 0-2. Low, and it's 1-2 for the Rays and for any player in their age 21 season. Eddie Matthews in the 50s hit 47. That's the mark for 21 seasons. There's a pitch outside, a ball, and it's 2-2. And, of course, Carlos Pena, who's here, has the Rays record for homers in a season with 46 in 2007.
Going to be nice to see Junior hit like 5 of them here, and Carlos can come over and thank him.
2-2 is lifted in the air to center. The ballpark will hold this one. Pete Crow Armstrong to his left is waiting beneath it and makes the catch shy of the track. Well shy of it. And that's a 1-2-3 for Boyd, and he's now retired a total of 8 Rays in a row. 3-3 as we go bottom 3.
Great moments in baseball have been broadcast on the radio since 1921.
Blake Curds in the third, and the Rays score run in the home third inning. It's time for Field, and you score free Wisconsin cheese curds from Culver's, so Rays up.
Shane Baz looking for a bounce back. He's got the cleanup man, Pete Crow Armstrong, we fanned to end the first. First pitch to the lefty. Swung on and fouled straight back off the knuckles. It's 0-1. If you look at the Cubs this year and you talk to people around the team, Pete Crow Armstrong is their energy. He's their heartbeat. And he's doing things that very few Cubs have ever done in their storied history. Shane Baz at the ready, lifts the leg, the 0-1. Chop foul toward first, it's 0-2. Pete Crow Armstrong is 2 home runs away from a 30-30 season. 30 homers, 30 steals. The only Cub ever to reach those milestones in the same campaign, Sammy Sosa. He did it twice. 0-2. Fastball called strike 3, but he's down on strikes twice today, is Pete Crow Armstrong. And Shane Baz picks up the punch out. There's one out in the third.
Fans, you can claim your share of the Rays 50-50 charity raffle jackpot. Proceeds support youth programming in Tampa Bay so you can win big and support the community. Visit Rays5050.com.
5 strikeouts for Baz, 4 of them looking as he gets the first out in the third. Now it's Nico Hoerner. Singled, starting a 3-run rally last inning, and he takes away outside of the screen. It's 1-0. Pete Crow Armstrong originally was drafted by the Mets, and they traded him to the Cubs in 2021 for Javi Baez. Baz at the ready, a 1-0 to Nico Hoerner. Fouled off to the right. It's 1-1. Javi Baez pretty much was booed out of town that year by Mets fans, and the Mets finished under 500 that season. You talk about a trade going right for a team. That one will last many years for the Cubs. 1-1. Check swing foul to the screen, and it's 1-2. And you think of the Mets, they're hanging on for dear life to a playoff spot. Imagine if they had Pete Crow Armstrong patrolling center field for them.
And that's a trade that didn't work in the short term nor the long term. In fact, it ages worse and worse every year from the Mets standpoint.
Yeah, they haven't really been able to figure out center field the last several seasons. Jose Siri, I know, just came back from injury. But they haven't had a real everyday guy man that spot the way they had hoped. And Pete Crow Armstrong is certainly doing that in Chicago. 1-2. Hoerner, who's a contact guy, flicks it foul to the right. It's still 1-2. Probably the best contact hitter for the Cubs on a team that's top 10 in basically every major offensive category in the league, including bottom 10 in strikeouts. The pitch, low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. They've got some guys who will swing and miss for sure, but they've also got a lot of guys who will swing and put it in play.
He has struck out only 42 times in over 550 plate appearances. Incredibly good.
Right-hand batter all the time, waiting on a 2-2 from Baz. Outside, doesn't chase. It's 3-2.
I mean, in this day and age, it's a strikeout league right now. That really stands out.
Yeah, that's once every about 3 games that he's punching out. There are a lot of guys who strike out once a game.
Once every 3 at-bats over the long term of the season.
1 out, and it's a full count from Baz as he pitches to Nico Hoerner. 3-3 game. Swinging a ball, driven foul to the right, and Hoerner on 99 fights it off to see another. Doesn't matter whether it's fastballs or curves, and that's all that Shane pretty much has used in this sequence. Hoerner finds a way to stay alive. 8th pitch of the sequence coming up, and Baz nearing 60 in the game. As a pitch upstairs and inside, there's ball 4. And Hoerner, controlling the zone, draws the second walk against Shane Baz. He's been on base twice. So the go-ahead run on base from Moises Ballesteros, the left-hand hitting designated hitter who had good numbers in AAA, but he's trying to fill in for the injured Kyle Tucker. Those are big shoes to fill. Dribbled one toward first his first time. The pitch taken for a strike. He's only played in a handful of games and is 4 out of 19 in the majors. Hit better than 300 in AAA Iowa. Pacific Coast League is a very well-known hitters league. 0-1 pitch. Curveball down and in. Blocked nicely by Fortes to his right. It's 1-1. 1 on, 1 out. Baz has not had a clean inning so far. He gave up a hit in the first, had a 30-pitch 3-run second, and now a walk with 1 out in the third. Rays had a 3-0 lead on the Morel homer. That got away. And Baz trying to keep the game even. Middle infield looks for 2, cheating to pull. 1-1. Line drive, right field, base hit, down toward the corner. Could give the Cubs the lead. Mangum has to chase it all the way into the corner. Hoerner will round third. He will score easily. Headed to third by Ballesteros, and he's there sliding without a throw. It's a line drive triple for Moises Ballesteros. The Cubs have their first lead as they have scored 4 unanswered runs. It's 4-3 in the third.
It's such a good triples ballpark. We mentioned it earlier because you get into those deep wells down both foul lines. And if you can't cut it off before it gets there, it rolls and it never really caroms out of the ivy. And you got to do a lot of running if you're a corner outfielder.
Dansby Swanson at the plate. The infield comes in, and it's punched foul to the netting. So, man at third, one out. The Cubs have erased the 3-0 lead and have moved in front before the end of the first third of the game. And Shane Baz, against the Cubs team that's not been scoring much since the break, boy, they have swung the bats well against Shane. A lot of hard contact. 6 hits already. Here's the 0-1. Taken, outside corner strike, 0-2. Shane has 5 strikeouts. If ever there were a time where he needs a punch-out, this would be it. That ball hit 108 off the bat by Ballesteros, his first major league triple. As Swanson calls time, his 7th run batted in.
He's just 21 years of age at Ballesteros, and he has really been in the mix for the Cubs. You bring up a 21-year-old for them to be this impactful?
Top 100 prospect in Major League Baseball, but they've got some guys in front of him like Kyle Tucker, who is a free agent after the year, of course. 2-strike pitch, up and in, and moving out of the way. Swanson, did I get a piece of him or not? He bailed out. I think it did get a piece. Either that or he hurt himself moving out of the way.
I did not see Marvin Hudson point towards first base.
And now Craig Counsell coming out, and I think they want a review. Oh, he got him on the hand.
Definitely got him.
I mean,
Chicago is challenged in the call of foul ball on the field.
It was originally called a foul ball by Marvin Hudson. This replay from Spectrum. They built the network you need for whatever future you want. TV, internet, voice, and mobile. Spectrum.com today to learn more. And there's no doubt this call will get overturned.
Got him pretty square. Well, on the hand also.
You can hear the reaction by the fans that just saw it on the 2 video boards. One in left center, one in right. And that's an 0-2 pitch that he hit Swanson with. And we talked about Shane having some trouble with 2 strike counts his last few starts.
Surprised it's taking this long, honestly, for them to make the decision. Looks like a direct hit on the back of the hand.
Yeah, I would be shocked if they don't overturn this. In New York, it looks, at least on the video board, it looks clear and convincing. Man at third, one out, 4-3 Cubs in the third, and it looks like it'll be first and third with one out when we get an official ruling. I can't see where that hit the knob of the bat. I mean, before, unless it got the knob and the hand at the same time, but it didn't appear to. The knob of the bat is black, the ball is white, the gloves are white. Certainly appears to be separation. It may have gotten the knob, but after it deflected off the hand, I thought.
I saw what you saw, and we'll hear the voice of Marvin Hudson here right now.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. It was a hit by pitch. Chicago will retain the challenge.
And there you go. So now it goes from man at third, one out to first and third and one out. And Shane Baz continues to be in a heap of trouble. Well, we'll see if Shane can find a way to limit damage here. He's already allowed the go-ahead run to score. Willie Castro, who walked and scored a big run in that 3-run second, comes to the plate, hitting just 177. Since being traded from Minnesota, the Rays get Edwin Uceda up in their bullpen. First pitch coming from Baz to Castro, righty to the switch hitter, is taken. Right down the middle for a ball, 1-0. Not sure where that missed. I guess low. And it's 1 ball, no strikes. Threw him a changeup. Swanson can run. He's held at first by Yandy Diaz. The pitch, down and in. Now it's 2-0. You think the Rays had a 3-0 lead and they had Matthew Boyd maybe on the ropes the way they were swinging the bats in the first. And now the Cubs, 2 innings later, have a chance to knock Baz out. 2-0 is taken outside. Now it's 3-0, and Castro walked on 4 pitches his first time up. Matt Shaw waits on deck. Baz is 3-0. Taken all the way, it's high ball 4, and that's a 4-pitch walk to load the bases. So an RBI triple for the lead, followed by a hit batter on 2 strikes and a walk. And here comes Kevin Cash, and I think that's going to be it for Shane Baz.
You know he doesn't want to do it, but he has to. This is a very tough outing here for Shane. And between the contact that has been there and the walks that have also been there, he's just made the call, and Ucedo will come in at a bases-loaded situation. So a tough Wrigley debut for...
Your day in baseball starts with MLB Central.
Let's get it started.
Ballesteros at third, Swanson at second, and Castro at first, only 1 out. And Ucedo against Matt Shaw.
Number 9 hitter with the bases full. Former top pick takes a called strike, 0-1. Changeup, that's Ucedo's specialty. Now, Kevin Cash does not like to bring relievers in the game with the bases loaded, leaving them no margin, but he had no choice. Bases full, 1 out, 1 home. The pitch. Swinging a ground ball toward third. Shortstop has it. Williams to second. 1 on to first. Not in time. Too slowly hit. A run scores, and it's now a 5-3 game. The Cubs in front. Shaw beating the relay by Richie Palacios. Ball hit too far to the left of Junior Caminero to cut it off. And even though Richie Palacios made a good throw to first, no chance to get the hustling Shaw. That run is charged to Baz. He's still responsible for the 2 on base since that was a fielder's choice. So back to the top, and for the 3rd time in 3 innings, Michael Busch hits the leadoff man. The pitch. Swinging a ball, lifted foul to the left, 0-1. And I mentioned Kevin Cash had no choice. Shane Baz allowed 10 of 17 batters to reach. 6 hits, 3 walks, and a hit batter, and he walked a guy hitting under 200 on 4 pitches 2 times. Throw to first, not in time. And when I say under 200 since he came over to the Cubs. Willie Castro is a veteran who'd been playing quite sparingly. Shaw, a big lead at first. Ucedo deals. Outside with a change, it's 1-1. And I don't know how long the Rays would go with Edwin here, but they at least want to see if he can get through the 3rd and keep this within a bloop and a blast. 1-1. High, and it's 2-1. Edwin has worked a lot of innings and made a ton of appearances for the Rays. He's been their best strikeout guy when he's gone well. 2 out, 2 on, to 2-1. Swinging a ball lifted in the air on a line to right at Mangum. He lines it up, makes the catch, and that'll do it. But the Cubs scored 2 to take the lead, and after 3 full innings, Chicago 5, Rays 3 on the Rays Baseball Network. The pitch taken for a called strike by Mangum, who's the last Ray to reach. He had a single through the middle his first time from the right side. And since then, 8 in a row retired by Boyd after a 3-run first. Rays down now 5-3 in the fourth. 0-1 is lined over third, a base hit in the left. Ian Happ will go to one knee to play it in, and Jake Mangum has the last 2 hits for the Rays now. Tampa Bay will at least get the tying run up in the fourth inning, down 5-3. Final line on Shane Baz today: 5 runs, 6 hits, 2 1/3 innings, walked 3, struck out 5, and also hit a batter. Here's Everson Pereira. Sky to right his first time up. Middle infield looking for 2. Boy, Horner's almost behind second. The pitch. Down and in for a ball, 1-0. On that pitch, it almost looks like his lead leg is behind the second base bag as he straightens out, at least from our angle. He did on that last offering, which they're bending the rules as far as they can, I guess. Boyd peers at first and throws over, and Mangum back in standing. Matthew Boyd, very tough to run on. Andy mentioned he leads the league in pickoffs. He's allowed only 5 steals in 28 prior starts.
Well, I've heard this said before, that if you're a left-handed pitcher and you don't hold runners well, you're lazy. And Matthew Boyd is tremendous at holding runners.
Pitch to Pereira is up and away for a ball outside, 1-0. This entire Cubs team is really good at controlling the running game. There aren't many guys where you look at their numbers and go, boy, that's a guy you can run on. That's an area where I think the Rays can improve by some pretty good margins going forward. 1-0. Outside a ball, 2-0. And I think you can have a team that isn't good at holding runners when you have a really elite pitching staff. And if you look at the numbers, by and large, the Rays have been a good pitching staff, but not an elite pitching staff this year. 2-0. Swing and a miss, and it's 2-1.
The other thing, too, the Rays don't really have left-handed starters until Ian Seymour joined the group. I don't remember too many years where the Rays had no presence from the left side in the rotation. Of course, that has a lot to do with Shane McClanahan being hurt all year.
And he was to be the opening day starter. 2-1. Fouled straight back, it's 2-2. And then you look at the bullpen right now. Garrett Clevenger is the only left-handed reliever for Tampa Bay. So you have one left-handed starter and one left-handed reliever. The Cubs, in contrast, are a little more balanced. They've got 2 lefty starters and 3 left-handed relievers. Certainly helps. And they've got Carson Kelly, one of the better throwing catchers this year in the game. Pereira using his timeout with the count 2-2, and Mangum at first, 5-3 Rays trail. Nobody out in the 4th inning. Everson still trying to find his footing since his call up from AAA after the trade from New York for Jose Caballero. Boyd delivers, taken down and in for a ball. And that is ball 4. So the Rays have a hit and a walk, and now the tying runs are on base. Now can they take advantage? Richie Palacios coming up.
We can honor the legacy of Roberto Clemente with a food drive coming up Monday. This coming Monday, September the 15th, when the Rays host the Blue Jays, team up with Feeding Tampa Bay and TD Cynics to pack the pantries. For more, just visit raysbaseball.com/Clemente.
Richie Palacios is one of the 2 lefties in the lineup. The corner infielders, Bush at first and Shaw at third, are expecting a possible bunt here to move the runners up. Here's the pitch. Richie squares and takes high for ball 1. Palacios grounded to short his first time up. Richie has not had a lot of playing time, just his 9th game with the injuries to his lower body this year. 1-0. He swings and hits it high in the air to center. Fighting the sun and coming in, Pete Crow Armstrong. He makes the catch, and that's a very unproductive first out for Richie Palacios. You want at least to be able to move up one of the runners, and that ball was hit in a spot where even a guy as speedy as Jake Mangum had no chance to advance. Pete Crow Armstrong has a cannon in center field. So from 2 on and none out to 2 on and 1 out, and here's Nick Fortes, the Rays catcher. Fly to center to Crow Armstrong, his first time. Righty against the lefty Boyd. This is where the Rays need the bottom part of the order to produce. Down 5-3, up and away, off speed, and it's 1-0. Now, Boyd has been really good in this ballpark. His ERA at home is just a shade over 2, but since the All-Star break, his numbers are down overall, and the Rays have had chances. Great one here. Mangum dances off second and a throw to first, and they've got Pereira picked off. Bush back pick behind him, and that's the second out of the inning. And quite frankly, that's an out that can't happen. 1-3 it goes, and there's 2 out here in the 4th. Pereira fell asleep. He didn't even know where Bush was. And all of a sudden, it's gone from 2 on and none out to a runner at second and 2 out. Young player making a mistake. As a pitch inside almost hit Fortes. And it's now 2 balls and no strikes. Well, let's see if Nick Fortes can pick up Everson Pereira. You got a lot of young players on this Rays team here in the stretch period, and they're making their fair share of mistakes as a pitch foul back 2-1. In fact, I tried to count it up. I think of the 28 players currently on the roster, 13 are playing at Wrigley Field for the first time. Rays last played here in 2023, but that means there are a lot of guys who weren't even in the big leagues 2 years ago. 2 out and a 2-1 with a runner at second. Here it is, Boyd to Fortes. Swinging a broken bat grounder foul behind third. Fastball in the hands, it's now 2-2. Fortes will have to get a new piece of wood. He's got 4 homers on the year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I'll tell you, that throw from Boyd, who leads the league in pickoffs, was behind Bush, but he made an athletic play to make the catch and then easily tagged Pereira. You talk about turning points in a ball game. The Rays had just fallen behind. They had 2 on, none out. They get an unproductive out and then a pickoff. So just not playing as well as they're capable of. And give the Cubs credit. They're making plays. They're the second best team in baseball, and they just made one to take a base runner off the board. 2-2. Swinging a ball looped over second. It's going to drop for a base hit. Mangum rounds third. He will come in and score as Nick Fortes picks up Everson Pereira with an RBI single. And the Rays do get one back. It's now a 5-4 ball game here in the fourth. It's a big hit for Fortes and the Rays. So the Rays get their second hit of the inning, a 2-out hit too. And now Carson Williams, the number 9 batter, is the go-ahead run at the plate. He fly to right his first time up. So 4 runs allowed at home by Boyd. Pitch to Carson. Swings and misses at a curveball off the plate, 0-1.
Neil, I ducked out of the booth for a minute, was listening to Cubs radios. I hit the boys' room, and they were saying they don't remember seeing the pickoff with runners at first and second. He's got a lot of pickoffs this year, but they've never seen the trail runner. They haven't run that play all year, but boy, did that work.
0-1 is a broken bat liner to short and caught by Dansby Swanson, and that'll end the inning for the Rays. Well, something they hadn't done worked in a big moment, and the Rays have to settle for one here in the fourth. Down 5-4, mid-4 on the Rays base. The game's still tied. Edwin Uceda stays on, and Ian Happ fouls one off to the left. Out of play, it's 0-1. Got an interesting question for you, Andy. I'm curious your take on this.
Okay.
With the Rays down now 5-4 in the fourth. You had heard from the Cubs broadcast as you stepped away for a moment that this was the first time they used a particular play. A pickoff from Boyd with first and second, with Boyd picking off the runner at first. The pitch. Swung on and lifted in the air and deep toward the right field corner. On the run, Mangum looking up, and this ball is gone. Ian Happ pulls one in the right field seats, his 21st homer, and just like that, the Cubs have added to their lead and answered the Rays' run. It's 6-4 now in the fourth. First home run that Edwin Uceda has given up in a long while. And that was a cutter that actually, with her fastball, was off the plate. But it was in where Happ likes it, and he got to it. 106 off the bat. Here's Carson Kelly right on right. And he pops up the first pitch, foul on the third base side. It's the room for Caminero coming toward the dugout. Leans over, can't get it. It's off the top of the dugout, out of play, 0-1. My question is this. If this is a play the Cubs haven't used, Now teams in the playoffs have seen this. Why use this against the Rays when your position in the postseason is determined, and now they have it in their minds that this could be used instead of saving it for a bigger moment?
You're thinking it from an advanced scouting standpoint.
Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2.
Well, I think to use it in game-type situations, who knows how long they might have thought about using it, or maybe they worked on it back in Arizona in the spring. But I kind of see it from the other side. Let's see if it works. Because if you're going to have to win a postseason game on a surprise trick play, I think the odds are long of winning that series.
Next pitch outside, it's 1-2.
Of course, I could be completely wrong, and maybe that could be the difference between winning a series or not. But, I had seen the first baseman Bush, who was in front of Pereira at first, fake back to first base on one of the pitches. Then he went behind him. Then they did the play.
1-2 outside, it's 2-2.
It was really interesting.
It was definitely interesting, and I don't remember seeing any team run a play like that before. As the Cubs have Javier Assad warming in their bullpen, so Matthew Boyd may not go long enough to get a victory today. Assad is a starter by trade. 2-2. Outside and high, and it's 3-2.
Plus, using it when it's a trail runner, there's a runner ahead. What are the odds of that play even really working? But Pereira fell asleep, I guess.
He did, as a 3-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3, and Uceda gets his first strikeout for the first out in the fourth. Again, 6-4, Chicago in front.
Well, your Rays are going to be back in the Bay to take on the Blue Jays starting the last regular season homestand Monday through Thursday coming up. Soak in the sun at Steinbrenner Field and visit RaysBaseball.com.
And the only reason I asked that is because the former Rays general manager is here today scouting for the San Diego Padres, the team that could face the Rays, as a ball hit in the air toward the right field line. In is Mangum coming toward the stands. It's out of play, and Pete Crow Armstrong, who struck out twice, down on the count 0-1 now.
You're talking about the original general manager for the franchise, Chuck Lamar.
Yeah, Chuck Lamar is here, now a scout with San Diego, and he sees that play. I'm sure that makes all of his notes and his remarks because, generally this time of year, you have multiple scouts assigned to teams if you're in postseason contention. 0-1. Outside and high, 1-1. And they're looking for every little edge they can get and every little tendency they can pick up. Now they're going to go back and watch that play and say, okay, what should we look for if they're to try some pickoff? 1-1. Little chopper up the first base side. Uceda's got it on the run. Underhand flip to Diaz. Retires Pete Crow Armstrong. He's down 3 times today. A ground out and 2 strikeouts and 2 out now in the fourth.
Well, we're running into a lot of guys like that because 3 of the 4 teams that the Rays have remaining on the schedule look to be playoff-bound teams in Toronto, Boston, and then Toronto again. Baltimore the only one out of it.
So there are going to be a lot of scouts at these games, in addition to a lot of people paying attention. As 2 out, bases empty. Nico Horner up. First pitch. Taken. Fastball strike, 0-1. 6-4 Cubs. They didn't score in the first, but they got 3 in the second, 2 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. Rays with 3 in the first and 1 in the fourth, down 6-4. Next pitch. Outside for a ball. And it's 1-1.
It's never too late to make an impression, too, on an executive from another team. And there's a great story with that if there's time. If not, we'll get to it.
1-1 now. Lifted foul to the right, 1-2.
In the 1983 World Series, the Phillies had Willie Hernandez setting up Al Holland, who was the closer. And on the radio was Jack Puck along with Sparky Anderson. And Anderson was so impressed with Willie Hernandez that he said, we need to get him for the Tigers next year. And all he did was win the Cy Young and MVP.
1-2. Outside and high, 2-2.
It's not like he was a star. He was a setup guy, left-hand reliever. He'd had a lengthy career even with the Cubs. But he made an October impression. He didn't even have a big moment in that series.
Sparky picked up a lot of nuance. It's a 2-2. High and it's full. And that's what you would expect from a Hall of Fame manager, to notice all the little things. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out. Ian Happ with a homer here in the fourth. Cubs have extended their lead. The pitch. Swinging a ball driven on a line to deep left field. Over and back Simpson toward the track. Looking up and it's off the wall. Hits off the brick, bounds away from him for extra bases. Scooting around second, going to third is Horner. The throw, not in time. It's a sliding triple for Nico Hoerner as he goes headfirst into the bag. And that's a case where Simpson got a little too close to the wall and Hoerner took advantage.
Well, that's the thing with the ivy out there. A lot of times in the lower parts of the wall, it's softer and the ball gets stuck. The high part of the wall, it seems to go through it and carom hard back to the outfielder. And that one eluded Chandler and allowed the extra base.
Now Moises Ballesteros, who's got a triple of his own, takes outside a ball 1-0. Who said the Cubs are having trouble scoring runs?
Honestly.
Second fewest in the game since the All-Star break, but it doesn't look like that here. 2-out triple after a leadoff homer. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Changeup, 1-1. Edwin Uceda cleaned up the third for Shane Baz, and now a run in the fourth, a homer, and a triple given up. Checks third and deals. Taken. Little low, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Well, this will be a game decided by the Cubs bullpen, and their bullpen's dynamic. So it's up to Uceda to give the Rays a fighting chance and get the third out here. 2-1. Swing and a miss. Got it by him. A cutter. It's 2-2. Last game on Wednesday, the Cubs went with their bullpen. Their starter, Jameson Taillon, had just come off the IL. He didn't go the full 5 innings, just like Boyd won't today, and their bullpen was stupendous. They're missing their closer, Danny Palencia, with a shoulder injury, but they've got a lot of depth and 3 former starters in the pen. With 2 out, a 2-2 to the lefty Ballesteros. Uceda sets, delivers, it's up and in for a ball, 3-2. Infield to pull, outfield fairly straight away. Aaron Savali's in that pen. We mentioned Javier Assad and Ben Brown. They've all been starters this year, so that's a lot of length for manager Craig Counsell to work with. Payoff coming. Swinging a hard hit ball and a hop to second. Right to Richie Palacios, who straightens and throws out Ballesteros. And Uceda does minimize the damage here in the 4th inning. Cubs get 1 and a half homer and lead 6-4 after 4 on the Rays Baseball Network.
Let's see if we can figure out the following baseball slang.
ChaseNowTops.com. Well, Matthew Boyd is going to start the 5th. Javier Assad continues to warm back in. Andy Freed.
Thank you very much. And left-hand batting, Chandler Simpson shows bunt, takes called strike. Now, the Rays do have 3 consecutive right-handed batters in there after Boyd. And Assad's been warming up for a while, which leads you to believe they're picking the spot to bring him in. Simpson lost one towards right center field. Back to his right goes Willie Castro to run it down. Thing is, though, and honestly, I don't know how much it matters anymore, but when you have a lead and you got to get through 5 innings to qualify for a win, I think pitchers, at least to a degree, certainly not like they used to, but judge themselves on getting credited for a victory, at least to, a little bit. So maybe had Simpson got aboard, they might have made the move, but now with 3 straight right-handed batters, Boyd will face Yandy Diaz and throw first pitch called strike. Slow curve at just 73 by Matthew Boyd, whose Cubs lead the Rays 6-4 as we play the 5th inning. Boyd rocks over the rubber and delivers. Grounded sharply to the right side, but their second baseman Horner well out into right center field, and he throws to first for the out. Boy, he was a good 5, 6, 7 steps out there in right center field. 2 out, no one on, and leaves it for Christopher Morel.
He must have had his heels right on the edge of the dirt to be able to get that far deep and over to make that play.
Yeah, when the pitch comes in, you got to be on the dirt, but he went back and got a friendly hop. 2 out, no one on for Morel, who takes breaking ball, a wild one, and it's 0-1. Kevin Kelly looks like he'll be coming in for the Rays from the bullpen. It used to be where you could see the bullpens down the right and left field lines. This one's a changeup low and outside. It's 2 balls, no strikes. But now they're tucked under, or I don't know if they go downstairs. I haven't been out there, but they're behind the walls out in the alleys. So they're under the stands, so you can't see who is warming. But they do put it on the board, and a one-hopper from Morel back to Boyd. He'll qualify now as he flips to first for the out, and we're done with 4.5 at Wrigley Field. It's Cubs 6, Rays 4 on the Rays Radio Network.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived.
Two-thirds allows an inherited runner to score. Out of 3, came in with the bases full, gave up a run on 2 hits and fanned 1. And here's Kelly, Rays down 6-4 in the 5th.
All right, it is low at third. Dansby Swanson hit by a pitch his last time. Thankfully, he's okay. And the first pitch slides in for a strike on 1. He doubled and knocked in a run, later scored his first time up. And the double was a roller towards the middle of the diamond that Carson Williams got a mitt on, but just knocked it into the outfield. And as deep as the outfield has to play with Swanson's power, there was O'Connor room and turned it into 2 bases. Here's another slider from Kelly, and it's outside. 1 ball, 1 strike to Dansby, Swanson, Castro, and Shaw to follow. And the pitch, half swing and a miss. And it's now 1-2. Tomorrow the Cubs are going to honor Anthony Rizzo as he officially retires. He has not played a game this year, and I just saw something that popped up, and it reminds me why, Rizzo's always been a guy pretty easy to root for because he's a cancer survivor. And I guess it's already been shown, so they're not surprising him with this. But now the pitch to Swanson, swung on and missed. Strike 3. But tomorrow when he officially retires, I didn't see, let me see if I can find out. He's either wearing it or being presented with. He's going to be wearing this. It's a jersey that is signed by all the patients that he's visited over the years who were battling cancer. So that's the jersey he will wear to officially retire as a Cub tomorrow.
Wow.
That's a pretty incredible thing. And here's a first pitch strike to Willie Castro. He's walked on a grand total of 8 pitches. That's the first strike he's seen of the day. The count is 0-1.
That doesn't touch your heart. I don't know what does.
It's when it's more than, as they say, more than just a game. The pitch is a check swing. I think he went through, and he did, said Junior Valentine, the third base umpire, and it has nothing to do.
Well, that's why they're retiring him as a Cub, and he's so beloved in this market. It wasn't just that he was a player on a team that won their first World Series in 108 years. It was more than that.
Helped the Yankees win the pennant last year. Just a winning player, but it's easy to forget who the first 2 teams were in his career. Castro swings and misses, and boy, Kelly is filling the strike zone, 2-man down. He came up with the Red Sox and then made his debut with the Padres. And, he's not remembered for playing for either one of those. But, boy, when he came to Chicago, things lined up. Things really lined up for them with their top picks, their high-round picks, their priority guys, Baez and, of course, Chris Bryant, among others. Here's a swing and a pop-up foul, third base side out of play, Wilson Contreras. They won in their window, and not every team can say that. And even though it didn't last as long as a lot of Cub fans were hoping for, they got the ring that they hadn't had in decade upon decade upon decade. Now the pitch bunted foul up the third base line. In fact, the Cubs were, for a long time that I remember, criticized as a front office for being a team that would take for granted the fact that they'd fill up Wrigley Field, that people would come here to see the ballpark and be a part of the atmosphere here, that there wasn't the onus for them to win quite as much. Now, I can't speak to that, but that was the knock on the Cubs for a long time. Here's a swing and a foul straight back, and then when they started winning, boy, there was no better team in 2016.
Well, it shows you how you can get greedy when you have a year like that, because going into this year, before they get Kyle Tucker, that was the talk here. Hey, do they really want to win? How come this team's getting this guy, this team's getting this guy? Why aren't the Cubs doing it?
The 2-strike pitch, low and inside. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes.
And then they went out and got Kyle Tucker.
Yeah. And they had to give up a lot for him, but because he's a free agent at the end of the year, so it's to get him for one big year, and he has had mostly a very good year. That pitch just missed outside from Kelly, and that'll leave it up at 2-2.
Is it a successful trade if they don't get beyond the first round of the playoffs?
No, not for giving up Cam Smith. But at the same time, you can't blame them. They made a valiant effort and got a really good player. There's a swing and a pop-up, back a second. Retreating out into center is second baseman Palacios, calling off the center fielder Pereira, and he hangs on to it, and that's a nice, clean 1-2-3 inning for Kevin Kelly. We're done with 5, on to the 6th at Wrigley. It's the Cubs 6, Rays 4 on the Rays Radio Network.
Great moments
Rays.com/disclosures. The Weeble call to the bullpen is Porter Hodge. Matthew Boyd only struck out one batter in 5 innings, walked 2, gave up 4 runs, 5 hits, but he leaves on the right side of the ledger. His 6-4 lead. Porter Hodge is in.
Junior Caminero starts it, and Hodge's first one is a called strike, 0-1. Hodge, 24 years old, from Cottonwood High School in Salt Lake City. He was a high school pick for the Cubs 5 years ago, and now an important part of a crowded bullpen. There's a swing and a foul at the plate, and it's 0-2. 32nd appearance for Hodge, who made his big league debut last year with 39 appearances for the Cub. Fastballs and sweepers, pretty much even mix for the right-hander Hodge, who works on the third base side of the rubber, and the pitch sweeper, low and outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's called a sweep. I mean, it's a slider. It's been a slider for years. Some of them have more of a sweeping action to it. It's a more descriptive description of what they do, but it goes down and away to the righty. And there's another one, it's taken all the way by Caminero, down and outside. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Caminero grounding to second and flying to center. Then Mangum and then Pereira. It's only a 2-run lead for the Cubs here in the 6th. And the pitch chopped high in the air to short, played back on by Swanson, and his throw into first gets a hard hustling Junior Caminero, but it's an out, and that's 1 away. Let's pause for station identification now on the Tampa Bay Rays Radio Network.
Radio.
With Neil Solondz, I'm Andy Freed, Wrigley Field, Chicago. Chris Mathis back in the network studio. Ricardo Betancourt here in the booth with us at Wrigley. As Jake Mangum is 2 for 2 today, takes a slider outside for ball 1. He is singled to left center and singled to left, scoring a run. This is the first time, though, today batting left-handed. And he takes a strike over the outside. It's even up, 1 ball, 1 strike. Rays led 3-0, now trail 6-4 with both teams into the bullpen. Cubs have a lefty, Drew Pomerantz, warming. Here's a swing and a pop-up back of the plate and goes out of play. It's 1-2, and the Rays have Griffin Jack, so it looks like perhaps a 1-inning performance for Kevin Kelly, and he was downright dominating there in the last of the 5th inning, so we'll see. Rays have to go into their bullpen deep today with Shane Baz lasting just 2 innings plus. Mangum swings and foul tips it straight back, stays 1-2. And right now, Everson Pereira is on deck. And if they choose to go, the Rays have 5 lefties on the bench today, then it would be against the right-hander Hodge, because the 3-batter minimum, Hodge has to face the next man. There's the pitch low and in the dirt. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. So we'll see. But Pereira, for now, still in the on-deck area, with the Rays on the first base side here at Wrigley and Cubs on the third base side. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now the right-hander to the plate. Swing slice down the left field line, but foul. And even up 2-2.
Cubs are still hoping that Hodge returns to his form from a year ago. I mean, he was finishing their games last year.
Oh, he's good. And yet, he has a 6 ERA, but his stuff is outstanding. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on for Mangum. Out of the line, the right-hander to the plate. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Slider down, and Mangum is down. And that's 2 men retired here in the Rays 6th, and it'll still be Pereira to bat against Hodge.
I think if it were the tying run, you would see a lefty. But because it isn't, Pereira will get another turn.
Yeah, in these moments, Kevin Cash tends to play his cards tight and then waits to deploy those pinch hitters late in the game when it can really change a game. Pereira takes low and outside for ball 1, but you can make the opposite case here and say, well, it's only a 2-run deficit. You can get a platoon matchup. But they choose to keep Pereira in. And a pitch down and away. 2-0. For a guy like Pereira also, this is an audition for next season. Show him what the Rays have. He has 1 home run so far in the big leagues. but known as a power hitter. Has not exactly gotten regular at-bats with the Rays, but he's in there always against the lefties. Strike one is called on the outside, 2-1. Only hitting 149 with the Rays. He did walk his last time up, got picked off. Fly to right his first time up. Here it comes, and he's down and away. So 3-1. A walk is as good as a hit here. With Palacios on deck, he'd be the tying run, although I don't know if he'd face Hodge or not. The lefty Pomeranz continues to warm. Here it comes. Popped him up. Shallow center field. Charging in is PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, to track it down and retire the side. That's now 7 in a row retired and 8 of 9 by Cubs pitching. Bottom of the 6th on the way. Cubs 6, Rays 4 on the Rays Radio Network.
Great moments in baseball have been broadcast on
Our latest Weevil call to the bullpen, Griffin Jax. He faces the top part of the Cubs order. Rays are still down 6-4 to Chicago.
All right, well, here is Jax, who the Rays have been using as an opener. It's probably a good spot for him, though. Down a couple of runs, not a ton of game pressure on him. He will face the top of the order. And the Rays have been saying, as Bush, left-hand batter, takes outside and low ball one, that his stuff has been just as impressive as it was when he was with the Twins, but he has not had the success with the Rays. And a pitch is a strike on the inside, 1-1. The whole point in putting him in as an opener is to take some of the game pressure off, and at every pitch you make ends up deciding a game, win or lose. And overall, it's been good. And there's talk of him maybe moving to the rotation next year, so who knows? That's something to think about, but back into a traditional relief role here. He throws strike 2 on the inside to left-hand batting Bush. And 1 ball and 2 strikes. Then Happ and then Kelly. Last of the 6th, Cubs lead by 2 runs. Jax to the belt and throws. Swing and a miss, he struck him out. And I'll tell you what, that was some nasty stuff. That was a changeup at the end. You talk about a power change. A 93-mile-an-hour changeup that just eliminated Michael Bush. So that's 1 out here in the 6th. And now Ian Happ, who has singled, homered, struck out, driven in a pair of runs today. Batting lefty, and he swings and misses 0-1. You look at just strikeouts per 9 innings. Just incredibly good as any reliever you're going to find in the game. No balls and a strike. And the pitch outside. He certainly has the repertoire to be a starter. And I know when he came to the Rays, there was mention that could happen in the future. I would think, though, that if that's going to happen, you train differently during the offseason. There's a swing and a miss, strike 2, and it is 1-2. Not long ago we were thinking the Rays had almost too many starters. Where was there room for some guys? And now there's a bit of a help wanted sign in the Rays rotation. He pitches on 1-2, grounded along first, foul ball down into the Rays dugout, and it stays 1-2.
Would it be fair to say right now that the biggest question mark going into 26 is the starting pitching?
Right now there's a lot of question marks for this team moving forward. I think the Rays are not getting power from the outfield spots offensively. The infield, they're getting a ton of power, and a pitch is too high. It's 2-2, but I mean, there's a lot of questions. Starting pitching certainly on the list. Bullpen help certainly on the list. The shortstop position, a bit of a question heading into next year. 2-2. And Happ swings and lifts it in the air towards left. Deep, branching back is Simpson. Back into the deep well, and it's high off the wall. The same thing happened. He has to go back and chase it and straightaway left. This time, though, he's able to get it in time for Happ to hold with a double. And Happ has 3/4 of the cycle. So he's singled, he's homered, and he's doubled on a 3-hit afternoon for Ian Happ. What am I missing? I mean, I tend to think maybe the catching situation might stay status quo. I mean, I think with the acquisitions of Fortes and Fiducia, I know that was a very important spot for the Rays offensively and defensively. I see these as, tee-ups for next year. We'll see what happens there. Here's Carson Kelly, 1 for 3, and a first pitch missed down and away, ball 1. But I think probably tightening up the defense a little bit also. There's a lot of room for improvement. 1 ball and no strikes. Here's Jack's throwing, and it's low. And just to be, a little more imposing offensively. I think another power bat. I mean, everybody could say pretty much all of these things that we're seeing that the Rays will be looking for, right? I mean, isn't every team, most teams are looking for about the same kind of things in the offseason? There's a strike called. It's now 2-1. Everybody looks for bullpen help. Everybody's looking for another starter. Everybody's looking for another power bat. I think what will determine 26 is the improvement of some of the players that the Rays have now. On 2-1, Kelly swings and misses. The sophomore year for Simpson and Mangum. The follow-up year for Junior Caminero. Jonathan Aranda getting healthy again. And boy, I know it goes without saying, but we got to mention it. Not having Aranda from August on, well, I can't say it's paralyzed the team. It's made it very, very difficult. Obviously their best overall hitter this season.
It's left a big hole, and let's not forget, he was very good defensively at first base, too.
Did a very, very nice job. That's something that probably wasn't talked about enough, is that how much he got better defensively, as Junior certainly has at third.
But I look at the guy who started today. You talk about guys showing improvement. Shane Baz needs to grow next year for the Rays to get where they want to go.
I think even Pepio could. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's how teams get better. Oh, the slider just missed outside. Full count 3-2. And as flashy as offseason acquisitions get, usually it's the core of your team getting better that allows you to take the next step as a group. Jack's payoff pitch is strike 3 called. No question. Slider at the bottom of the zone, and Jack's fans him for 2 men away. So runner at second is Happ with 2 outs, 6-4 Chicago, and now Pete Crow Armstrong.
It's now 10 strikeouts for Rays pitching, but they've also allowed half a dozen extra base hits. So it's been a lot of swing and hit for the Cubs. When they hit it, they've hit it a long way.
Here's Armstrong, 0 for 3, swings and fouls it straight back at the plate. Got a chunk out of Nick Fortes, the count 0-1. How about the improvement of a guy like Joe Boyle, who we were all excited about for a while, and he just was having a really rough time getting in the zone in the big leagues, which is not a new situation for him, but if he could get better, that improves the team quite a bit also.
You just came up with a trio of starters, Boyle, Pepio, Baz, and then, of course, if Shane McClanahan can come back, and we certainly hope he does next year after missing more than 2 seasons, but I don't know what's fair after missing more than 2 years for Shane. I just want to see him healthy and smiling and back on a field again.
Yep, absolutely. No balls and a strike to the left-handed batting Pete Crow Armstrong. 6-4 Cubs, 2 out, half at second, 6th inning. Jacks pitches, and he missed outside. It's now 1 ball, 1 strike.
But I think right now the Rays' run prevention is closer to like that 10th to 12th out of 30 teams. And for them to be an elite team, I think they need to be in the top 5.
1 ball, 1 strike. The count to Crow Armstrong. Jacks to the plate. Swing and a miss. 1-2. There were, and again, that 25-9 was not a mirage. That was about as well as the Rays can play. There were scouts from around the league at the time and since that have said that team looked like that's a team that could go all the way. So, there's something here, even if it hasn't formulated since that great stretch. Ball 2 outside from Jacks to Crow Armstrong. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
What do they say? 162 games will show all your warts as well as all your beauty marks, right?
And every team has them both. 2-2 to Crow Armstrong. Jacks from the stretch and works. That's a called strike 3, said Marvin Hudson. Crow Armstrong sits down, and Jacks strikes out 3 in the inning. Allows the double in the middle, but strands half at second. And now, at the end of 6 full at Wrigley Field, it's Cubs 6, Rays 4 on the Rays Radio Network. Today, and the Weeble call to the bullpen is Drew Pomerantz is on, veteran left-hander against the lower third of the Rays, and our Weeble call to the broadcast booth. Here is Neil Solotz.
All right, thanks very much, Andy. Boy, Pomerantz has been on some kind of ride throughout the course of his big league career. In fact, this year, the first time he's in the majors since 21 is a ground ball pulled right to second. First pitch inning by Richie Palacios. Overhand toss by Nico Horner gets Palacios in 1 pitch. 1 out here in the 7th with the Rays down 6-4. Palacios now 0 for 3. Pomerantz is making his 50th appearance of the season. That's pretty significant for a guy who hasn't appeared in this many games in a season in a decade. He appeared in 53 games in 2015. He's been starter and reliever as he delivers a strike. 0-1 on right-hand batter Nick Fortes.
Want the laundry list of big league teams for which Pomerantz has played? It's a long one.
I'm ready. If you are, is the pitch. Breaking ball, called strike, 0-2.
Rockies, A's, Padres, Red Sox, Giants, Brewers, back to the Padres. Half a decade in the minor leagues almost, and now with the Cubs.
At 36 years of age to start the season. 2 strikes on Fortes. Here it comes. And he checks his swing, and a ball in the dirt did not go. On appeal, says Ryan Blakeney down at first. It's 1-2.
People may wonder, well, why would a guy get a second tour of duty with the same team? If they didn't like him, why would they give him up in the first place? But teams change over time. The jigsaw puzzle pieces rotate, and in a not necessarily orderly fashion.
1-2 up and away. It's 2-2.
So suddenly you need someone back that you liked, that maybe you didn't even like getting rid of the first time, and suddenly the scene shifts, and you can retain them like you did with the Padres.
2-2. Swing and a miss. Down on strikes Fortes. And the Cubs bullpen so far has not allowed a base runner. 2 out now in the 7th inning. 6-4 Chicago. This is probably one of the better strengths of the Cubs. And the important thing is their starter was better than the Rays starter today. Matthew Boyd wasn't great, but he gave up 4 and 5, and Shane Baz allowed 5 and 2 1/3. Carson Williams, number 9 hitter, takes a strike, top of the zone, 0-1. Eric Orsi up in the Rays bullpen. Looks like he will have the bottom of the 7th inning. 0-1 to Carson Williams. Taken, little high, and it's 1-1. Carson 0 for 2 with a pop out and a fly out. Rays shortstop still trying to figure things out at the plate. Rays trying to turn the lineup over. 1-1. Fouled straight back. Now it's 1-2. Pomerantz getting the bottom part of the order here. The Cubs have their fireman already up in the bullpen in Brad Keller. And I would imagine if the tying run comes up, you'll probably see Keller, or at least if it becomes a difficult situation. 1-2. Breaking ball low, and it's 2-2. Rays still have 5 left-handers on their bench. Keller and Andrew Kittredge, who are now pitching the 8th and 9th, have been dynamic. In fact, Keller hasn't allowed a run since the All-Star break.
Is that good?
2-2. Swinging a little jam shot, loop back at first over his bush. In foul ground, he makes the catch just shy of the track. And the Rays again go 1-2-3 against the latest Cubs reliever, Drew Pomerantz, in the 7th. Time to stretch in Chicago, 6-4 Cubs. This is the Rays.
Bosch, the more you feel like a Bosch. Here comes Eric Orsi, who really had a hard return to the Rays yesterday on the south side. See how he does, Neil, on the north side. Weeble called to the bullpen.
Well, this is where he grew up coming to games as a kid. Is Orsi ready to deal with Nico Horner? First pitch is outside a ball, 1-0. Yesterday charged with 2 runs in 2/3 of an inning. 1-0 the count on Horner, has had a big day. And he swings and misses off speed, 1-1. Eric Orsi grew up coming to Cub games. In fact, he's got an early memory of coming to a Cubs game as part of we've got our corporate partners here for this weekend here in Chicago, and it was some sort of corporate event, and he was the guest of somebody and got to go out onto the field and throw a bullpen as the pitch is low for a ball, 2-1. This at 7 years of age. You want to talk about a seminal moment for a young baseball player. Eric Orsi has a picture, and his family has one still, of him throwing on a bullpen mound at Wrigley Field at 7 years of age, the 2-1. In there, a called strike 2-2, with Larry Rothschild, who, of course, at the time was a Cubs coach and was also the Rays' first manager in their history, watching right behind him. Eric in jeans pitching as a 2-2 is poked foul to the screen. It's still 2-2 on the contact hitter Horner, starting off the home seventh, 6-4 Chicago.
Gotta think it's hard to pitch in jeans.
Well, at 7, I mean, you don't know any better, right? I mean, most of the kids didn't have it. In that day and age, everyone's not dudded out in full uni and spikes. 2-2. That's taken just low, or as he thought he had a punch out. Instead, it's full. Was asking him who some of his favorite players were at the time. You'd figure it would be all the big names, but he started naming like Corey Patterson and Mark Bellhorn and a lot of the grinders. There's a line drive foul past third. It's full on Horner, leading off the 7th inning. And it was those types of players. He didn't mention pitchers because he said at 7, I didn't know I was going to be a pitcher. I mean, now I look at the picture of it and think about what a great moment that was. And now he's got all his family and friends in town watching, trying to get the Rays a scoreless 7th as the pitch is popped up. Back behind home plate, this will find the seats lower level. And it's still 3-2. 38,000 plus. Some friends of Eric Orsi, certainly a fair number of fans of the home team, the Chicago Cubs, on this Friday afternoon. All of them enjoying the sunshine as the pitch coming. Swing and a foul toward third. It's still 3-2. We mentioned the Rays corporate partners are in town. I saw a lot of Rays fans even some Rays staff who decided to make the trip to Wrigley Field with the team on the road just to say they came to Wrigley Field and watched the Rays. Only happens once every 2 years in the regular season, so why not? Payoff again, and Horner lifts it in the air. Third base side, shortstop Williams into the outfield under it. Makes the catch on the backhand in fair territory. 1 out here in the 7th, 6-4 Chicago. First time that Horner's been retired today. It's singled, walked, and tripled. So Orsi gets the all-important first out. Here's Moises Ballesteros. Left-hand hitting DH had a mammoth triple. That came in the third. It gave the Cubs the lead, and they've led since. The pitch taken, called strike, 0-1. It's his first game since getting recalled up due to the injury to Kyle Tucker. 1 strike to count. Here's the pitch. Swinging a ball looped in the air, right center, dropping quickly. It falls in front of Pereira on about 3 hops for a soft single. Ballesteros, 21-year-old, top 100 prospect now with his second hit of the day.
Well, their offense has been rolling. You got 3 hits from Happ, 2 hits from Horner, 2 from Ballesteros, on base multiple times for Swanson and for Castro. They've gotten production from every single spot in the order today except PCA.
Which is probably the biggest surprise is Dansby Swanson stands in. Double to drive in a run, scored a run, hit by a pitch. Struck out his last time. The Cubs have only been retired once in order today as the pitch is driven foul to the right, and it's 0-1. The Rays, in contrast, have had runners on base in just 2 innings. Both innings they've scored, so they've taken advantage of their chances, but Chicago has had pressure on all day. Bullpen has done a good job of keeping the runs off the board, or is he trying to do that here in the 7th? 0-1. Swing and a miss. Good splitter. It's 0-2. 1 on, 1 out. 6-4 Cubs. They scored all their runs in the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. The Rays got 1 back in the 4th inning, and it's been 6-4 ever since. Cubs bullpen has put the clamps on this one with Brad Keller warming. 2-strike pitch is a jam shot foul to the right, and it lands right in the front row of the 2nd level. It's still 0-2. Again, Cubs, they are firmly in the driver's seat in terms of a playoff spot. The Brewers, today, with some help, could be the first team to clinch a playoff spot in 2025. Two-strike pitch is fouled off again. It's still 0-2 on Swanson. You know you're having a good season when you have a chance to clinch with more than 2 weeks to go in the regular campaign. Brewers are having a magical year.
Looks like the Phillies will be the first team to clinch a division, but like you said, Brewers clinch a playoff spot right around the corner.
Yeah, the Mets have fallen off the map. What is it now, at 11-game lead for the... I mean, that's amazing. It was a close race for a long while.
I can't believe how close the Giants have gotten. That's a team I was not impressed with at all, but to their credit. And how about the Reds right there, a game and a half out?
They're in position for sure as the next one is outside. It's 1-2 now on Dansby Swanson. Or is he having to work for his outs? 1-on-1 out, seventh inning.
But Arizona is only 3 games out.
And they're under 500, right? Or at 500?
That's right.
Yeah,
1 game under.
The Mets have brought the bar down lower where the Mariners have pulled away. As this pitched low for a ball, and it's 2-2. That's in the American League. And now they're tied with Houston for that division lead. That's what
baseball decided to do. They traded first place pennant races for lowering the bar to get as many teams in to an expanded playoff situation. And you base your opinion whatever you like, if you like that or not. But it is weird seeing teams struggling to get above 500 that are very much in the race.
2-2. Swing and a miss. It gets away though from the catcher. Fortes rolls to the screen. On to second base on the play goes by Esteros. He's now in scoring position with 2 out here in the 7th. We'll see how they score that. I thought that was a receivable ball for Nick Fortes. It should be a pass ball. And they have scored that, a strikeout on a pass ball. Now, if you're wondering, why didn't the hitter go to first? Well, there was an occupied base when it started. So unless there's 2 out, the runner can't go to first on a strikeout and either wild pitch or pass ball if first base is occupied. First pitch called strike to Willie Castro, 0-1.
In this ballpark, though, to file it away, when there are 2 out and you're the hitter and it gets away from the catcher, it is almost as... In fact, I wonder, Neil, do you think at the farthest place back, I guess it's not quite as far as the mound to the plate, but it's not that far off. And there's a ton of room straight behind the plate.
Lots of cover for sure. 0-1 to Castro. Swinging a little roller toward third, backhanded by Caminero. Sidearm toss, not in time. And Castro with a squib hit. Now runners at the corners. It's a pretty good effort by Junior. But Castro can get up the line, and he has a soft single against Eric Warzy to put men at the corners and 2 out here in the 7th.
The question is, could Junior have turned and gotten the runner by Esteros trying to go second to third? He was heading right for him. He doesn't have eyes in the back of his head, so maybe he couldn't see, and there's no one there to tell him, so he had to rely on instinct, but he might have had an easier play with a turn and tag.
Well, if there's no pass ball, does he have a play at second base?
Sure.
I think that's where a mistake defensively can really hurt you, as Kyle Snyder makes his 3rd trip to the mound today. And the Rays have, again, not played the cleanest of games in the field today. That's been their problem on this road trip through Chicago. And the Cubs, they're playing like an elite team defensively today. They've made every routine play, and they've made some very good plays.
Well, in the first inning right away, the shortstop and the second baseman, Swanson and Horner, each made plays that were not highlight plays, but it's where you always talk about you want your middle infielders to be able to make the everyday play and maybe a little bit better than that. But they made some above-average plays in the first inning that won't be remembered, but they helped to quiet the inning down. Or it could have been a monster first inning for the Rays.
Instead, it was an inning where the Rays settled for 3, and then the Cubs answered. And they've had control since that point. First and third, 2 out. Number 9 hitter is Matt Shaw, righty on righty. Castro leads away at first, and the pitch outside a ball. It's 1-0 on Shaw. Drove in a run on a fielder's choice ground out. Overall, he's 0 for 3. 11 homers, 40 batted in his rookie season. Throw to first, and they've got the runner picked off. Now we'll see if Ballesteros tries to come home. The throw to second. They get the out before a run scores, and that'll do it for the Cubs here in the 7th inning, as the first and third play does not work. Caught stealing goes 1-3-4 with Palacios the tag. So Orsi a scoreless inning in his home area.
Great moments in baseball have been broadcast on the radio since 1920.
Restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Here comes Brad Keller, who has been so very good for the Cubs out of the bullpen. Last 21 games, 0 runs allowed.
And he starts with a pitch upstairs to Chandler Simpson, 1-0. 21 in the third innings for Keller. I could never have imagined him becoming an elite reliever. As he deals outside, a ball to Chandler Simpson, 2-0. For much of his career, he was a starter with the Kansas City Royals. 2-0 now. Swinging a chopper off the plate towards second. Horner with it to his left. Shovels to first, little low, but Bush handles. And Keller, who gets a lot of ground balls, gets the first out here in the 8th with a 6-4 lead. 63 and a third innings for Keller. He's allowed only 41 hits. So how do you score against a guy who's not allowing stolen bases, not allowing homers, just 3 of them this year as Yandy Diaz takes a strike? You can understand why he's not allowing runs. Yandy 0 for 2 with a walk, takes, bottom of the zone, called strike, 0-2. I thought he was going to be a pretty good starter at one point. And then hit a little bit of the injury bug.
He wasn't a bad starter.
No.
But boy, is he taken to this role.
0-2. Outside 1-2. You think about it. They get Danny Palencia back, and they have Palencia, Keller, and Andrew Kittredge, who's certainly a very good veteran, back into the pen with some starters to boot. That's a tough pen in the playoffs. As the next pitch, bottom of the zone, called strike 3. And Yandy, who doesn't go looking very often, wasn't happy with that call. Fastball down. Marvin Hudson said it was good enough, and there's 2 out here in the 8th. I was up to Christopher Morel. The Rays could pinch it here, but Keller's been really good against righties and lefties. They're both hitting in the low 200s against him. Morel a 3-run homer today. The pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No, he didn't, says the umpire at first. Today, that's Ryan Blakeney. It's 1-0. All these games, 2:20 Eastern time. Rays have their best Drew Rasmussen going tomorrow. Again, down 6-4 in the 8th today. Colin Ray will start for the Cubs, the only righty they'll start in the series. 1-0 is outside. It's 2-0. So a couple of 2-0 counts from Keller here in the 8th inning. He got Simpson to roll over and struck out Diaz. Rays need Morel to reach to get Junior Caminero up as the tying run. 2-0 pitch. Taken, called strike, 2-1. 97 and a generous call from Marvin Hudson there. At least if the box is correct. 2-1 with 2 out. Swing and a miss. Couldn't get it. And it's now 2-2. Tough slider. I also don't remember Keller throwing 97 as a starting pitcher. So he's amped it up a notch, throwing just 1 inning stints. Shadows now extending just behind the home plate area, meaning the 9th inning. The hitters may be in the shade and the pitcher in the sun. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Here it comes. Swinging a ground ball toward third and foul past Brady Williams down the coaching lines. Still 2-2 on Morel, who has struck out and grounded out after the 3-run homer got the Rays off to seemingly a really good start. But by the end of the 2nd inning, we were tied, and by the 3rd, the Cubs had the lead. 2-2. Called strike 3, and Keller fans 2 in another perfect inning. Make it 22 scoreless outings since the All-Star break. Rays down 6-4 as we go bottom 8 at Wrigley on the Rays Baseball Network.
Take a hack at guessing which baseball player or manager said the following.
I really don't.
And they just can't allow a run to score here. Orsi out for his 2nd inning of work. Shaw, Bush, and Happ. 2-run lead for the Cubs. The Rays are right in it, but they have not been able to get closer than that 2-run separation.
Well, since the Cubs went to the bullpen, the Rays haven't had a base runner. Hard to make up a 2-run deficit that way, as Orsi deals to Shaw high and away to the number 9 batter, 1-0 with Caminero in on the grass at third slightly. Again, 0 for 3 with an RBI ground out is Shaw. He was at the plate in the 7th inning when a pickoff ended the frame as a pitch swung on and missed. Slider away, it's 1-1. Rays will have Junior Caminero and then some pinch hitters available in the 9th. Depending on how they want to go about it is the 1-1. Up and away, and it's 2-1. Not only has the Cubs bullpen been perfect, Matthew Boyd finished his outing by getting on a run, so it's 13 straight retired by Cubs pitching. Rays have only had base runners in 2 innings. As a 2-1 is grounded foul toward third, it's 2-2. Rays have only had 3 chances with runners in scoring position. They've been having problems. I think they were, 3 for 33 entering today. Today they're 2 for 3, but the Cubs have had 11 opportunities with runners in scoring position. The pitch, that's taken high, and it's full on Shaw. A lot of pitches thrown by Eric Orsi. Garrett Clevenger is up in the Rays bullpen. Again, Andrew Kittredge now warming for Chicago. 3-2, taken. Ooh, called high, ball 4. And there is a leadoff walk.
Well, don't forget the last homestand of the regular season coming out. Rays will close it out against the Boston Red Sox Friday, September the 19th through the 21st, which is a Sunday. Secure your seats at RaysBaseball.com.
First walk allowed by the Rays bullpen today. Remember, they've had to cover a ton of innings since Shane Baz went just 2 1/3. Shaw held at first by Diaz. First pitch, way high, ball 1. Eric Orsi's had a tough time controlling the running game. Michael Busch at the plate, 1 for 4 with an RBI single today. Did that in the second to make it a 5-3 game. It's currently 6-4 in the 8th. Throw to first and diving back safely is Shaw. Normally, you don't see third basemen that steal out of bases. He's got 16. The Cubs have good athletes all over the diamond. Everyone's either a power threat or a stolen base threat, or both, in the case of some. 1-0. Taken, inside corner strike, 1-1.
It's an interesting point you make, too, Neil, about third baseman. Third basemen often are lumbering in their running, but are extremely and maybe the quickest men on the field. You think of even Junior Caminero at third. You think of Brooks Robinson or some of the other really big-bodied third basemen that aren't fast, but they're incredibly quick.
1-1 is driven toward the gap in right center. Mangum got a good jump over, dives, and rolls over. Did he catch it? They're not sure now. They say he didn't, and they've got runners hung up between first and second. Yandy Diaz gets the ball from Mangum, runs toward the runner at first, and makes the tag of the hitter, Michael Busch. Stopping at second on the play was the guy who had walked Shaw, and that play will end up going 9-3 after a single put runners initially at first and second. I think Shaw was confused as to whether that ball was indeed caught, and we just got a replay. It was indeed trapped by Mangum. But he quickly got rid of the ball and got it into Yandy Diaz and gets the outfield assist.
It's all about getting the ball in fast. Nothing can happen with the ball in the outfield, but you get it into the infield and things can happen. And it's what ends up, too, with the umpires making the call. The fans are so confused right now. They're playing the replay back. We know he did not catch the ball. That wasn't the question. And the umpires did everything right on that play also, including ruling it not a catch.
As the pitch outside, a ball to Ian Happ, 1-0. Yeah, once the ball is ruled not a catch, that's on Matt Shaw to either go further or not. He started going back toward first base, then touched second, and then just stood there.
Sometimes I wonder if the fans on the south side are more into the game than the fans on the north side.
I think you're right, as the 1-0 is high for a ball, 2-0. Well, maybe they're out there stacking their snakes of cups in left center field and they're not quite paying attention. Hi, what's going on over here?
Everything was done right there by the umpires, and they're still griping. Oh, and they're winning, too.
2-0. Inside corner strike, 2-1. Everything was done right in the field by the Rays.
Yes.
What was done wrong was two things. One, Matt Shaw started coming back to first base when the umpire ruled it a hit. Second, the guy who hit the baseball, Michael Busch, should have just stood on first.
You bet.
Runner at second, and the pitch fouled straight back with 1 out. It's now 2-2 on Ian Happ.
The only thing that the Rays did not do textbook there was nobody was covering first after Yandy vacated the bag. He was about 2/3 of the way to second base, and if somehow Busch had gotten around Yandy, he could have crawled back to first, but it didn't matter at all.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Infield to pull on Happ, who's homered today and singled and doubled. And he takes high, it's full. So he's a triple shy of the cycle as he bats in the 8th inning with the Cubs up 6-4.
Don't you love chaotic plays? I mean, it's like sometimes in baseball, there might be nothing going on, and suddenly everything just breaks loose.
It definitely became a fire drill, for sure.
When in doubt, you look at the umpires. That they tell you everything you need to know.
And at least by my account, they did everything right, too. I'm looking for the umpire to tell me what happened. He did. 3-2. That's down low, ball 4, and that's the second walk of the inning allowed by Eric Orsi. And here comes Kevin Cash to bring in Garrett Clevenger and make a Weeble call to the bullpen in the 8th. Rays are down 6-4 to the Cubs. We're back with Clevenger after this on the Rays Baseball Network.
A dramatic ending.
Your Rays are closing out the regular season.
About how often they use their pitchers, and I think Kevin took it upon himself to say maybe Garrett giving up the run against, what was it, Cleveland? But the Rays are very careful. He's not been overused, although I can respect Kevin's opinion. And first time on the road trip, Clevenger is into the game. And I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Neil. And now Clevenger has a pitch count issue, so it gives us a chance to talk about it a little bit. But boy, to be a part of the Rays system for this long, they are incredibly careful with how they use their pitchers. I think Kevin's point was that he put Clevenger into so many big moments in 5 out of 7 days that he was self-critical. I can respect that too.
And he's warmed up during the course of this road trip, but this will be his first appearance since then, and that's what? The 5th day of the road, or the 4th day of the road trip plus a day off, so it's been more than 5 days since he's been in a game, so he should be fine here. Although it's a tough spot, in part because Eric Orsi didn't retire a batter in the inning. He was helped out by the base running error by the Cubs. Their second runner thrown out on the bases today. 2 walks and a hit, and a runner thrown out is first and second and 1 gone. 6-4 Cubs, 8th inning. Carson Kelly, 1 out of 4 with 3 strikeouts, the batter. The pitch, swing and a miss. Sharp slider, it's 0-1.
You'll never find a manager in this game that'll take the hit more so than Kevin Cash for his guys. He doesn't want his players having to deal with questions like that, so he jumped out in front of it and said, nope, that's on me, right or wrong.
Now, players can appreciate that as the runners go. The pitch popped foul to the right out of play. It's 0-2. Teams have not run on Clevenger as much this year, but there you could see they had Garrett timed right, did the Cubs. It's 2 strikes. Off from second base was Shaw, and from first Ian Happ. Both are pretty good base runners and base stealers. You had mentioned third baseman about being base runners. One of the Rays' better base runners, Evan Longoria, was a terrific base runner.
Yes, he was.
Even though he wasn't a base stealer. 0-2 with 2 on. Instead of wheel to second and no throw as Palacios trying to sneak in behind the lead runner, Shaw.
Carlos Payne was a pretty good base runner, even though he wasn't a big stolen base guy. It's a big difference between being a stolen base guy or a speed guy and a base runner. When you have both, boy, then you got Chandler Simpson.
You do indeed, as the pitch. Take in, and on appeal, ball 1 upheld down at first on a check swing by Carson Kelly. It's 1-2 on Kelly. 17 homers, 50 runs batted in on the year. This is a career season for Kelly in terms of the RBIs, and 1 homer off his most. Veteran signing a free agent deal this offseason. 1-2. Swinging a high fly ball to right center. Mangum drifting over. He's underneath it, calling off Pereira. Makes the catch. The runners hold at first and second. As Mangum holds off Pereira and makes the play. And there's 2 gone now in the 8th inning for Clevenger and the Rays, down 6-4. Tell you, it can get sold out in here that Mangum and Pereira came pretty close to coming together. I think Pereira did not hear Mangum calling him off, even though you could see him waving his hands in the air to try and make doubly sure.
Neil, when I see that part of Wrigley Field, there's been a highlight play that I've seen for so many years of Roberto Clemente streaking across the outfield and making a diving play right there, and I just got a flash of him the way Jake was running across.
Pete Crow Armstrong takes down and in, lefty on lefty, 1-0. Oh, it's that time of year, too. Roberto Clemente Day is not far away. It'll be happening when the Rays come back home. One of the best the game's ever had is the pitch. Swung on, chopped foul off the plate by one of the best this year in the game, Pete Crow Armstrong, and it's 1-1. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts and a ground out. Rays are hoping to keep him off the board and maintain this as a 2-run game heading to the 9th inning. Andrew Kittredge and now Ben Brown warming up. Brown if the game gets separated. Kittredge if it's still a 2-run affair. Cubs looking for their 84th win of the year. Rays trying to pull within a game of 500. Strike pitch on the way is inside a ball, and it's now even at 1-1. Or 2-1, rather. 2 on, 2 out. 2-1 on Pete Crow Armstrong. Clevenger fires. Swing and a miss. Sharp slider. It's 2-2. Pete Crow Armstrong is, again, 2 homers shy of a 30-30 season, but his numbers have tailed off since the All-Star break. And he fouled a ball off his leg about a week ago, and he's had further trouble since. Need your legs to hit 2. 2-2. Swinging the ball, poked towards second. Out is Palacios. He fights the sun and then stumbles and makes the catch, falling into the shallow outfield grass. So Garrett Clevenger helps out Orsi and puts up a 0 in the 8th. And we head to the 9th, 6-4 Chicago on the Rays.
Take a hack at guessing which baseball player or
headline. 6-4 Rays down. Junior Caminero to start it, and to start it for us, Andy Freed.
Neil, thank you very much. The Rays need a base runner in the worst way just to get the tying run up. And there's Junior Caminero to start it. And Kitt's first pitch is a called strike 0-1. Interestingly enough, Kittredge's probably low point of the year came against the Rays. One of his only 3 losses for the season. And it was perhaps the most memorable game of the year for the Rays on a ball 2 outside. June 18th, the Rays erased the 8-0 deficit against Baltimore, 112-8. Kit was the losing pitcher in that one. Cabanera swings and sends one on a hop to third. Clean pick by Matt Shaw and throws him out, one gone.
Boy, his reactions are good. His anticipation and first step, I'm thinking off the bat, that's probably getting to the hole. No chance. Shaw, to his left, made a terrific play and took the hop out as well.
1 out, nobody on in the Rays' ninth. Here's Jake Mangum, and we see Josh Lowe come into the on-deck area. I was looking at that box score of that game a little bit more, Neil, after the Rays came back. Kittredge ended up taking the loss, but you know who soaked up the last inning for Baltimore was Brian Baker. There's a swing and a tapper out in front of the plate. Fair ball. Pounced on by Kelly. Throws him out. The Rays are down to their final out. Josh Lowe will pinch hit. The Rays have gone down 15 consecutively. Not that different from what the Cubs and their bullpen did against the Braves 2 days ago. Perfection from their bullpen. And in 7 of the 9 innings, the Rays going down in order, unless Josh Lowe gets on. And the first one to him, taken all the way, called strike one, 0-1. Low in a straight-up stance. The right-hander pitches, swinging a foul at the plate at 0-2. So 4 pitches, or 5 pitches, and you got 2 out, nobody on, and an 0-2 count. Cubs pen is making it look easy today. They've been the story of the game, other than coming back from the 3-0 deficit. The 0-2 pitch, swung on and missed, strike 3. Boy, you can't have an easier save than that. And the Rays go down 16 in a row. To end the day, they blow a 3-0 lead and lose to the Cubs by the final score of 6-4. Stay tuned. Neil and I will come back. Talk about it in a moment on the Rays Radio Network.
The sounds of summer are all around us.